do. How then, as a young people, do we galvanize and have a unity of purpose? Because you've said the issues that are facing the youth are the same. But how do we get that unity of purpose amongst ourselves?
The issues the youth are facing, whether urban or rural, educated or not, are the same. Unemployment, healthcare issues, family. If you look at suicide rates and murders in the country, the young people, young families, mental health issues. And the only way to be able to bring the youth together is to understand what makes them tick. Because you cannot use the same spade that you're trying to clean in an urban area to go and use it in a rural setting. And that is why I'm saying, like for example, I and myself are privileged enough to be in movements that can actually bring the youth together from different backgrounds. It is very difficult to connect if the people who actually, the tip of the spear defines how movements move. So for me, what should actually galvanize the youth together is to understand that we're all facing the same problems. Unemployment, we're all facing the same problems. Life has become too expensive. And the only way to do this is for the media to actually consistently hold accountable politicians and actually call them out as liars and bring out the truth. Because a media house like RMS is actually one of the most watched in the country, like Citizen. If you constantly highlight issues facing the youth and actually talk about that a youth in Moraa and Webuye and Mombasa in Chonyi is actually going through the same problem, we'll actually realize, okay, I'm not the only one going through this problem, because we're now, we're living separate lives and we don't understand that the same problems my neighbor is facing, I'm facing them. Once we understand that, it becomes easier to come together and then be able to move forward. And the only way we can actually try and bring change is because in as much as the gatekeepers are the same, I believe if the youth came together and voted, no one can be able to rig. Because the numbers will be so high that even person planning to rig will just feel ashamed and go home. Because if we vote overwhelmingly for the people we want, they will actually have no choice but to let them in. Ruben Kigame is actually vying as a candidate, the musician.
Yes.
But if I look at online conversations, no one is giving him a chance. No one. Because it's about mtu wangu, mtu wetu. But he's a good guy. Yeah? The former UN UNCTAD boss, he's vying for presidency. If you ask young people, watakulizieni nani? People have forgotten he's a former cabinet minister 2 terms, he's a former MP 3 terms. People, we've forgotten our history. People who forget the history will not know where they're going. So we have a population that is actually very key in our future that have no idea what is happening or what happened before. So it becomes very difficult if honest people, she talked about giving the job to the right people. We have the right people who've actually given themselves an opportunity. If Boniface Mwangi called for a rally today, how many people of your movement will actually go and back him up?
I personally would. And
you alone?
No.
I called for a demo.
Okay.
I called for a demo to actually talk about fuel prices and the cost of living. I was alone on the streets. No one backed me up. And that is the problem, because the youth do not want to connect the dots. We do not want to believe my life is bad because of the current politicians. Someone will tell me, oh, Biko, focus on business, leave politics alone. I can't focus on business because politics defines how the business moves. They're actually co-joined at the hip. It's the same thing. Whether you want healthcare in this country, whether you want good education, whether you want good governance, it's defined by politicians in parliament and county assemblies. And that is the unfortunate truth.
Okay. Unity of purpose. How do we achieve that? And you mentioned issues around streets and he called for a demonstration. Nobody showed up.
It's so sad. I've done a demo, very successful, when I was a student leader. And it's because we had a reason. Yours had a very good reason. I do not want to disregard that. But the moment you talk to people, I believe there's power in speaking out. When you talk to people, even when God was creating, he spoke unto the earth and said, let there be light. He spoke. Speak out. There's power in that. As young people, I'd like to agree with him. We have common challenges. Our enemies are the common things. Unemployment, mental health issues, poor healthcare services, political instability. And we need to realize that the moment we agree that those are our common enemies, not the people at the top, is where we can move. And how do we do that? With movements like his and ours. For strugglers, our 4 common pillars are our 4 common struggles are political, economic, social, and environmental struggles. And that is our way, our means of looking for the youths across the country to ensure that we talk to them and we tell them, this is our problem, this is the solution, and this is how we want to go about it. What about you? What is your challenge? What bracket does it fall under? And that is our small baby steps of trying to get to unite the youth. The youth also need to realize that issues of tribalism, Mutu Wetu syndrome are done and gone. Many people right now are intermarrying, and we need to agree with the fact that in the next 10 years, it will be a thing of the past, and we need to move fast before it catches, before we get into a period like right now where we are unstable in what to do and what not to do. We need to move fast and realize that we have potential as the youth. We are the hugest voting bloc, and if we want to effect change, and if we want to live comfortably and end the struggle, we need to unite.
Okay.
Yes.
But is this going to be a guided democracy, so to speak? Because I'm hearing a movement that will speak to people, but how will you empower them to make their own decisions, or will you guide them? The quoted word is guided democracy. Like, okay, so this is the issues that are coming up as strugglers movement. This is the person we stand with. At that point, you now stop being the people's movement. It's now almost become a dictatorship of some sort. Okay. And that is what he was raising, saying that are there people behind the movement?
I believe that in politics, people do not live in isolation, and I had mentioned that. As from where I'm seated, we sit with real people, with real strugglers. I don't know what form of humans he's talking about, but in politics, we don't thrive in isolation. I have mentors who mentor me in a political space. I might have been privileged to have mentors who mentor me in a political space, but as a movement, we are a group. We don't have people backing us up. We are a group. We are a group of individuals who have a stand on what they believe in. And that's why we came together. People backing us up, I don't know, maybe he knows more, he should inform me, but that's just about it. We are a group. Politics does not thrive in isolation, and will grow. In future, we look forward to working with people who are real. Like you, when you vie, you're a real person, you're a real struggler. We look forward to working with him, and very many more. Because I believe that in campus right now, I'm finalizing in my political science class. Almost 3/4 of those people are going to vie for MCA and MP positions in future. And I'd be glad to see that they'll join in the struggle to end the struggle. To end the struggle.
Where does your funding come from, Moraa?
We don't have funding from our pockets.
So you fund yourself?
We fund ourselves.
By contributions within the team?
By contributions within the team.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you buying that story?
Trevor,
yeah.
First, this is a good opportunity for us young people, and I'm very glad that Citizen called us, so that young people can actually have a voice and we're not perfect, we'll keep perfecting our speeches and our thoughts as we move along. And one thing my father told me, the one thing that my father's given me is, be a person of integrity. No matter how life takes you, be a person of integrity. No matter how difficult it is. And being a person of integrity in a country like Kenya, it's very difficult. Because now, being a law-abiding citizen and a person of integrity has become the exception rather than the norm. We support vices. Look at the people we are electing in parliament and key positions. Murderers, rapists, and things like that. She's living in an ideal world, which is good. We all want to be in that world. But to get to that world, we need to get our hands dirty, to work very hard to get there. It's not about, I wish and it happens. No. Raila keeps talking about the third liberation. I mean, we're still talking about liberation 50 years into our independence. If you look at the people behind the movement, I know them, they're my friends. We're in the political space, we are all vying for various positions, and we know why the conversation started. And I'm in no way belittling the movement. It's actually a very good movement, and what I want them is to now leave Nairobi and get there and talk to people, because IEBC has failed in understanding the political animal that the current youth is. How do you get them to be interested in politics? How do you get them to actually come and register as voters? And she alluded to the fact that technology, she said that if IEBC had actually used mobile phones to register, they would have surpassed the target, and that is true. So we need to change the relevant stakeholders, the media, IEBC, Parliament, county assemblies, council of governors, and more development partners need to identify that 80% of the young people are different. There are different political animals, and we need to approach them from a different way. We need to find ways to actually find them where they are. Where are they hanging out on TikTok? Where are they having conversations, Facebook groups? We need to get there and find how we can use technology to actually have proper democracy. I mean, Kenyan democracy is guided, as you've put it. Yeah, we all report to someone. At the end of the day, like for me, our movement will, at some point, because politics is local, we look at the who's who in our regional politics and report to them. Because
so you're admitting that your movement will be politically aligned at some point?
I mean, it is going to be aligned at some point, because at the end of the day, and sorry to burst a bubble, we still believe in mtu wetu. Our politics is very tribal. We are so far away from actually moving from tribal politics to actually politics of idealism and topical issues. And that's why me and you are here to push it, to guide that political narrative to where we want it to be.
But how then do you change the political narrative if you're admitting now that at some point you will still fall back?
Because the truth is, Trevor, unfortunately, if I want to get somewhere, we'll have to get our hands dirty for us to actually change the current narrative. And that's why I'm very excited about 2022. It's going to be a Waterloo election for the current leadership. 70% of them are going to go home. 70% of them are going to be buried permanent from the political scene. And that's why I'm excited about 2022 and 2027, because now ideas like mine and hers will actually have a room to blossom and grow. But before we get to the ballot, we'll have to identify and pick a political stand. And the political stand will be, does it suit my interests?
Yeah.
Does it support what I believe in? And what I believe in is an environment whereby every young Kenyan person, irrespective of your political affiliation, you have the right to thrive in any part of this country. Okay. And for us to get there, we'll have to align with the people of like mind to actually get there.
All right. Gilo, I hear what Steve is saying, because there are two options. You can either ride the wave and then tip the scales at the end, or be the complete outlier and just do your own thing on your own. Either one of them can succeed. So which one are you picking?
We're doing the very, how will I frame it? We want to change the tactic. We want to change the narrative, and I believe we'll go the other direction, because that is the best way to do so. If we go with the flow, we ride with the wave. I will be here saying that indeed mtu wetu is a thing with us, but I want to change that narrative, and it starts with me and him, who have voices, who are privileged to be in such platforms, whereby we tell people, imagine, no. Because if you talk about mtu wetu, I don't have a mtu wangu. I don't have a tribe I pledge allegiance to.
Yeah.
My parents are of two different tribes, and maybe if the parents are from other different tribes, I am a Kenyan. And my common enemy is unemployment, and that's the narrative we want to change. We don't want to ride with the wave. And as Strugglers Movement, as the national youth leader, Strugglers Movement, I believe in representation of the 2 million, we will not ride the wave.
Okay.
And we should not, as Kenyans. I'd urge them, let's not ride the wave. Let's change the narrative. We'll be singing about mtu wetu. 70 years will go down the line. We still sing about mtu wetu. What happens next?
Okay. Closing remarks now, because we're running out of time. Yes.
I respond in my closing remarks. Tribe is not a bad thing. My parents are from different communities. I'm Luya Kamba. Yeah, and tribe is actually a beautiful thing. What politicians have done is that they've taken tribe and weaponized it to achieve their selfish interests. But if you look at it, depending on which tribe you come from, tribe is actually a beautiful thing, because that's how we get our cultural aspect about it. That's how you're able to know that Kikuyus are very good in business, Luyas are very good in farming, Kambas are very good in long distance, you know. That's how we're able to get our personal identity. And as young people, we should actually be proud about our background, our cultural background. My closing remarks are, I am challenging every Kenyan youth. If you're tired of your life, if you're tired of saying, nimechoka na maisha yangu, I want a good job, I want to live a good life, I want to move from where I am to the next step, go and register today. Q, make those lines impossible for IEBC to close today. Because if we do not do that, then we are going to have a very bad problem. We are going to have the same leaders who do not care about us. I want leadership that will actually push for an environment whereby healthcare, education, research, agriculture, manufacturing are available for young people to actually thrive. I want you to have hope that you can actually own factories in this country. That it's not just the preserve of a particular race in this country. I want you to have hope that you can actually become a billionaire, clean billionaire, who files their taxes on time. And that is the hope that I want the strugglers movement to actually push. Not, you know why I don't ascribe to hustler or strugglers? Because I refuse to be defined by my environment and hope for better. So I want young people to believe that in as much as I am here today, tomorrow I'll be in a better place. Thank you, Trevor.
All right. Gilo.
Thank you, Biko, for guiding us and giving us insight as strugglers. And we appreciate and we will look into your insights. First of all, with the spirit of empowerment, and I love creatives, first. I really love creatives, and I believe Kenya is a creative country. Our diaspora network said that he will give $1,000 to one creative or a group of creatives that will give us a song on strugglers movement, and we look forward to interacting with them on Twitter, on TikTok, on Facebook or Instagram, and we will reward, and it will be an open reward and an open process. And now on to my parting shot. As strugglers movement, as a young Kenyan, I believe the struggle must end. And I believe that we have been working so hard to liberate ourselves from these struggles of poor health care, political instability, environmental issues, and I believe that we have the solutions at hand. Let's go and register as voters. As Biko said, we need to register as voters. Let's make those lines very impossible for IEBC to close.
All right.
Let's just ensure that we grow as a country, we grow as a nation, and I'd invite a lot of people to join us as a movement to end the struggle, because the struggle is real and we're moving from less noise to more voice.
All right. Thank you so much for making time. Rebecca, Moraa, Gilo, Youth Leader Strugglers Movement, all the best with your exams, by the way.
Thank you.
And Steve Biko, entrepreneur, for speaking to us. Remember, as young people, we are not enemies. We are only having a conversation so that our ideas can converge for a better future. We will not be young forever. All right? Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Trevor Mbija. It's always a pleasure having you with us. A lot of feedback has come through. We'll continue having this conversation as much as we can to ensure that something has to give. All right? Time for a quick break. When you come back, Willis Bazura Buru and Roy T-Boy are on the decks. It's Friday. Yawa. Thank God it's Friday. See ya.